8th league defeat of the season here at Goodison Park this weekend. In this video, I look back on that performance. Hello, my name's Richard. Welcome back to my channel. Over and over again, the Positive Arsenal channel. It's getting more and more difficult to remain positive at the moment, as again, Arsenal suffered another defeat, our 8th league defeat of the season here at Everton on Saturday evening. I just want to look back on that performance, but just before I get into all that, I just want to make sure that you are subscribing to my channel. If you like what I do, please click on the subscribe button down in the corner there. Please give this video the thumbs up as well if you like it. And if you've got any comments to make at all about the performance yesterday or anything else to do with Arsenal, please drop them in the comments box below, as I do love to hear from you guys as well. So in terms of the team lineup, then there wasn't a lot of changes, was there, from Wednesday night's draw against Southampton? Of course, Gabriel was out suspended following his red card. As expected, it was David Luiz who stepped in. So again, we started with a back three. So it was Leno in goal, it was Rob Holding, David Luiz and Kieran Tierney as the three centre-backs. Ainsley Maitland-Niles continued at right wing-back again after a decent performance against Southampton. Bukayo Saka again was on the left. In the centre midfield, it was Mohamed El-Neni and Dani Ceballos again. And the front three, the big surprise there was, of course, captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang suffered a thigh injury, wasn't fit enough to make the squad. So again, it was Eddie Nketiah playing through the centre. It was Pepe on the right and Willian came in on the left-hand side to replace Aubameyang. Of course, Willian's not really put in many good performances yet this season for Arsenal, so a little bit of a controversial choice there. Arteta going for a steady head, I suppose, rather than taking a risk with a younger player. Of course, this also saw 9 players named on the bench as well for the first time. You can still only use 3, but I say there were 9 on the bench. It did seem strange, therefore, that Mikel Arteta elected to put 4 defenders plus a goalkeeper, so more than half of the bench was taken up with defensive players. And this is a team that's struggling to score goals and create chances. Surely we should have had a few more attacking options on the bench. As it was good to see Emile Smith-Rowe, and of course it was good to see Gabriel Martinelli back on the bench as well following his long injury layoff, and he did make an impact as well later on in the game. And Joe Willett also was on the bench as well, but very defensive looking bench actually, and no risks really being taken again by Mikel Arteta. So in terms of performance overall then, I mean, we've played a lot worse this season, let's be fair, but again, it wasn't a great performance, was it? Lacking in drive, lacking in creativity, and the only thing you could say that we did, particularly in the second half, was at least we tried and gave it a go. We just lacked the quality and maybe the desire and the belief to really get back into this game. Of course, the first goal was, again, it was poor defending, wasn't it? It was a cross from the right from Alex Iwobi. As expected, the next Arsenal player comes back and instead of scoring a goal this time, he helped create a goal, but he wasn't closed down for the cross. Bukayo Saka stood off him, put a decent ball in for once. Rob Holding was asleep, as he tends to do sometimes, and Calvert-Lewin nipped in front of him, got a flick onto the ball. It was going to go wide actually, it just bounced off Rob Holding's thigh and went into the net, and that's the second weekend in a row that we've scored an own goal. When you're down at the bottom, near the bottom of the league and you're losing games, these are the sort of things that go against you on a regular basis, and that's what happened again. We found ourselves behind in what was always going to be a very difficult game, but fair play to us, we did manage to get ourselves level. 10 minutes later, Ainsley Maitland-Niles done well initially, putting a ball in from the right hand side. It wasn't a great headed clearance by Michael Keane, but as Tom Davies went to clear the ball away, Maitland-Niles reacted really quickly, nipped in front of him. It was a clear foul by the Everton man, and it was a definite penalty. Of course, without Aubameyang in the side, responsibilities fell to Nicolas Pepe. Of course, he scored a couple of penalties for us already in his Arsenal career, and he made no mistake, very cool penalty, sent Jordan Pickford the wrong way and bring us back into the game. And at that point, we'd been satisfied probably with a draw, but the turning point came just before half-time. A really soft goal to concede in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Initially, it'd actually been a really good save from Bernd Leno to deny Dominic Calvert-Lewin. That would have been a great goal, actually. A curling shot from the edge of the box was heading for the top corner, but Leno just tipped it over the bar. But from the resulting corner, it was a catalogue of errors, really. It was a decent delivery from Sigurdsson into the near post, but Mina had spun away from Pepe, who didn't follow him, and he got a near post flick onto the ball. Bernd Leno's positioning was terrible, and he could only push the ball into the net, and we found ourselves 2-1 down at half time. A bit like we did the other night against Southampton. We did come out in the second half half with a little bit more intensity to our play. Everton were quite happy to let us have the ball in front of them, typical Ancelotti tactic, and it worked pretty well. We didn't really have a lot of good chances to equalise. The nearest we came was 10 minutes into the second half, where Jordan Pickford flapped it across from Willian. The ball fell to David Luiz on the edge of the area, and his first time shot into the ground, bounced up and hit the post and came out, a bit similar to the other night when Rob Holding's header hit the crossbar. And again, when you're down at the bottom of the league, these are the things that don't go your way. But really, we didn't create enough opportunities in the second half to get the equaliser, and it wasn't until stoppage time at the very end of the game where we came closest again. It was a shot from Bukayo Saka, which was pushed out by Jordan Pickford, a decent save actually, that made sure that Everton held on for the victory. What I noticed was we put a lot of crosses into the box again, and there was actually some good deliveries, particularly from the left-hand side from Kieran Tierney, and also Maitland-Niles from the right put in some good balls as well, but none of the forward players were prepared to put themselves in the positions to get on the end of them. They were too static, not enough movement, and this is ultimately why we're not scoring enough goals. So although there are a few positives from the performance in the second half, there's still a lot of work to be done if we're going to pull ourselves clear of this relegation fight that we're in. So in terms of man of the match, then again, it's difficult to pick anyone from Arsenal that really stood out. It was a pretty average performance all round. There were one or two players who maybe played okay. I would say Rob Holding had another fairly decent game at the back. Still switched off a little bit for the first goal, so maybe that would prevent him from being in the running for man of the match. I thought David Luiz was pretty solid as well. Wasn't really put under a lot of pressure by Everton. They played a lot on the counter-attack, particularly in the second half, and they didn't create a lot of chances either. For me, the man of the match has to go to Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I thought he was decent against Southampton on his return to the side at right wing back, and I thought against Everton he was very good as well. Defensively, he was fairly solid for most of the game, up against a difficult opponent in Calvert-Lewin, and also going forward as well. He showed a lot of drive, putting some good deliveries as well, and it should now surely have cemented his place in the side ahead of Hector Bellerin. So that's two good performances in a row. I thought man of the match deservedly goes to Ainsley Maitland-Niles. So that's our 8th league defeat of the season already after just 14 games. We've only won one of our last 10 league games, drawn 2. It's a really, really poor run of form, and we are getting sucked into the relegation trouble. We do appear to have a squad that's too good to go down, but it doesn't matter what the squad looks like on paper, it's what you're doing on the pitch, and our results in the last 10 games have been the worst in the Premier League. And unless we turn this around very quickly, we are going to find ourselves in that bottom 3. The teams below us are picking up points now with draws and some wins. Teams like Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield United, Brighton, they're all getting points. But it's not getting any easier for us in terms of the fixtures, but the performances have got to improve. We've got to show more desire to get on the end of crosses. We've got to show more desire to create chances, and we've got to cut out the silly mistakes at the back, which is costing us goals. We're not conceding an awful lot of goals, if we're honest. We're conceding 1 or 2 every game, but when you're not scoring, you're never going to win games, and this is where the problems are. Every mistake we're making at the moment is ending in a goal against us, and we're just not doing enough at the other end to put it right. I think against Southampton, certainly in the second half, and in the second half of this game, we maybe showed a little bit more fight than we had done in the previous few games, but it's not enough. We need more quality, and I think Mikel Arteta now has got to start taking a few more risks with some of these younger players. Emil Smith-Rowe surely's got to be given an opportunity. He's the one creative player we do have in the squad. Balogun surely needs to be given a chance, a natural goal scorer. I don't think Eddie Nketiah has been doing enough in these last few games when he's been in the side. Willian clearly isn't doing enough either. It's difficult times for Arsenal. It's difficult times for Mikel Arteta. I do feel a bit sorry for him. He's having to battle against the tide really with a lot of these players in the squad, and we can't do a lot about that. Certainly not until January, and then really not until the end of the season when we can ship out a lot of the deadwood and clear a lot of the wage bill, and hopefully we can start to rebuild. It's going to be difficult between now and the end of the season. Mikel Arteta's got a big job to do, and he needs to start turning it around. It doesn't get any easier, does it? We got Manchester City in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday night. And then another Premier League game, difficult game at home to Chelsea on Boxing Day, followed by a trip to Brighton. That's been a really difficult ground for us to visit in the last few years. They do tend to always get a result against us. And of course, they're very close to us in the league now. So that's a big 6-pointer. And then straight after that, we play in West Brom as well, another team that are just below us in the table. So it's big games, important games, and we need to find some results. We need to find some goals. Mikel Arteta now has got a really big job on his hands. So that's it then. That's my review of yesterday's performance here at Goodison Park against Everton. I say another defeat, and we are now in real trouble. Let me know what you thought about the performance yesterday. Let me know what you thought about who would have been your man of the match. Let me know what you thought about the team selection as well. There wasn't too many changes, was there, from Southampton, other than 2 enforced changes with a suspension and a late injury to Aubameyang. Of course, it was great, wasn't it, to see Gabriel Martinelli back in the squad, back on the pitch. Of course, he came on, didn't he, and made a bit of an impact as well. He looked a little bit rusty. Of course, he's not played, has he, for months. So I think once he gets his match fitness back, he's going to make a difference in the final third of the pitch. And of course, Thomas Partey as well, he's going to make a difference as well, isn't he? So it isn't all doom and gloom. There is a little bit of optimism around. But unfortunately, until these players are all back in the team, fit and firing, we are going to probably be in for a bit more of a struggle first, aren't we? So I think things are going to get worse before they get better. But they can't really get that much worse, or we will be in big trouble, won't we? Stay tuned to the channel, because coming up tomorrow, I've got my Premier League review show. I'll be doing that tomorrow night. I've got a couple of guests joining me. We'll look back on all the Premier League games this weekend. We will speak about this Arsenal performance in a little bit more detail as well. This is another big week, isn't it? If we can actually pull out 2 results here, get through to the semi-final of the Cup, and then pick up a positive result against Chelsea on Boxing Day, maybe that can be the thing that turns our season around. But it needs to happen soon, doesn't it? Because it's starting to become quite worrying, isn't it? But anyway, that's that there. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for supporting the channel. If you haven't done so already, please click the subscribe button down in the corner there. Please give this video a thumbs up as well if you like it. And I say stay tuned. Lots of great stuff coming up as we move into Christmas, and then of course into what hopefully will be a much better 2021 for everybody, particularly obviously for us at Arsenal. So thanks for the support of the channel. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and of course in the meantime, as always, come on you Gunners!